Good morning, welcome to day 21, Friday, of the Persona 5 Dailies. Today we're going to go see the doctor. I'm sure many of you are looking forward to that. I know I am. So sometimes you'll get these informal requests, essentially. Basically just a reminder that you will have confidants that day that you can pick. I'm not sure if you get any bonus for going with them before they ask. I do know there are other cases where people will ask you the night before if you want to go to do something. You'll get a bonus if you decide immediately, but take no penalty for deciding later. This case, you can't respond to it, so I'm not sure if that same thing applies, but that's what really say about that. Other than, like, I guess it's nice to see that Sojiro actually does treat you more often than that one time. So you notice it's Friday, but we actually didn't go to school, and this is because of a Japanese holiday called the Golden Week, which is technically about 4 holidays put together. Okay, so technically it's more than that. So Golden Week runs from the 29th of April to either the 3rd or the 6th of May. So the first day is Showa Day, which honors the birthday of the emperor, if you didn't know. Similar to how like the UK still has a queen, which doesn't hold political sway but is still there. The emperor still there is still an emperor of Japan, and actually the last few years a new emperor, the previous emperor's son, was then elected, causing us to enter a new era. I can't remember what the era is called. I'll check that out for next time. But yeah, the second holiday is on the 3rd of May, which is their Memorial Day, in honor of the day when they were given a constitution. Honor being whatever you make of it. Then there's Greenery Day, which is basically the Japanese Earth Day, and then Children's Day on the 5th of May, which is kind of like Father's Day or Mother's Day, but for the kids. So in general, like what Golden Week tends to be is this long break for high school students to spend time off. Typically, you would picture this as being the time where everyone goes out and goes to the beach and, just takes a good break. And that is kind of true, but incidentally, just because everybody's doing it at the same time, that also means it's one of the hardest times to go out and do that too, because everyone's going to the same place, and then traffic becomes a nightmare. We'll actually see some of the elderly around the neighborhood speak on this, where because of Golden Week, they basically have nothing to do other than to stay inside and just watch TV and, wait it out, which I can certainly relate to right now. Golden Week has this sort of mixed opinion about it. It has become somewhat of a social issue in some capacity just because the arrival of Golden Week means that traffic and transportation and deliveries, etc., just become awful for about a week long. So.
Konnichiwa.
こ
So, previously I mentioned Showa Day as the first holiday to kick off all of Golden Week. And from what I've read, there actually is a lot more significance to that than I originally considered. So, originally, this was called Emperor's Day because it was the Emperor's birthday. However, when Emperor Hiro, who was the Emperor until 1989, died, even though it was no longer his birthday, it was changed to Showa Day in 2007, which is actually fairly recent in like, for all intents and purposes, like in terms of the history. I mean, mind you, that is what, like 28 years, almost 3 decades after the emperor died. As a matter of fact, it was the Democratic Party of Japan, which incidentally isn't actually all that democratic, but that is another topic which we will get to eventually, do not worry. Actually encouraged the holiday be used as a sort of reflection on the reality of what that emperor's reign had brought. Not to glorify the emperor, but to recognize the history, like, of the last 63 years, which is a lot of time. Holy cow. Just the many world events that happened that caused so much strife, not the least of which, of course, being World War II, which completely changed the face of Japan, and as well as, on the other side of things, what is commonly called the Japanese post-war economic miracle, which has a sort of double-faced meaning to it, a preemptive economic celebration, which, just after that economic miracle, Japan experienced one of its largest recessions, and then not just once, but 10 years later, twice. Showa Day exists as a reminder of Japanese history, a reminder that under the rule of Hirohito, things weren't always perfect. It's important to remember history for what it is and not to glorify it, I guess. I shouldn't be surprised by a holiday having more significance to it. I mean, you look at Independence Day, and there is a lot of history connected to Independence Day, obviously, in America, and 4th of July, and really any holiday in America is the same way. But to experience that as a third party to something that you've never really connected with is eye-opening. Suddenly the texture of history that paints over that day and what significance it has to a great number of people becomes a lot more obvious. For your consideration, I suppose.
診察室にどうぞ。 何？ええ。ああ。へえ。ところで、
If you are having a hard time with this game, Takemi is one of the confidants I recommend you rush as soon as you can, because progressing through her confidant ranks will earn you access to the set of items that essentially break the balance of this game in your favor. They are called the SP adhesives, and I won't personally be using them. I feel like they take a lot of the challenge out of the game and thus make at least 2 dungeons in the whole game basically worthless. I will use them for grinding purposes, but not for the progression or completion of any of the palaces. As for you though, if you're having a tough time and need the extra help, absolutely go ahead for it. They are expensive items, but trust me, I will be showing you a few ways to get a lot of money out of this game, so don't worry.
ああ、帰ったか。つけておこう。
おい。さてと。
ほう。
もんだな。
That'll be it for today. Saturday, I believe, is a fairly short day, so we might touch again on a few older topics. I might get around to doing some translation work. That would be fun, but I don't know. I'll surprise you guys for tomorrow. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow morning.